right, welcome to Ben and Curt Till It Hurts, the culture cast where curation meets castration. I forgot what my usual intro is, man. I don't know. It's Tuesday.
Yeah, we're off today.
Yeah, you're listening to this on a Monday. You're a loyal listener. You're listening to this on a Monday. But what you don't know is we usually record it on Wednesdays. All right. Now, as usual, let's start the show off with a little bit of biblical exegesis. Okay.
Thank you.
Usually we record it on Wednesdays, which, of course, as you all know, is the day in which God raised the land out of the sea and peppered it with vegetation and seed-bearing fruit. Okay?
Yep.
Now, today, we're recording it on a Tuesday, which is the day in which God created the vault that separates the waters of the sky from the waters of the land.
Yes.
All right? What does this mean for the podcast? I don't know.
You know, I think we're just getting back to the roots. We're just taking it one step back.
Yeah.
You know, we're approaching it from a more base level to, I think you got to have a strong foundation to have a good podcast. I think that's...
Yep, and that's the foundation that we're laying today.
Yeah.
How you doing, Curtis?
I'm okay.
Yep.
Speaking of, how are you? First
I'm okay.
of all?
I'm good.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually doing great. I'm having a great day. I'm podcasting. I wasn't expecting to be podcasting, but I'm podcasting.
I was a solid 5 out of 10 all day today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling pretty good now because we recorded last Wednesday and then we hung out on Sunday to watch the thing. And now it's Tuesday and we're recording again. That's a lot of like Curt and Ben time in a very concentrated area. And I like that. That's good. We're doing pretty good right now.
It's righteous.
But as I was going to say, as far as like foundations go, I'm noticing a trend when I edit the podcasts. So most of you guys probably would assume that these get edited. A lot of what we say gets edited out, and you get the final product of the podcast. And I've noticed as we're going further down this and I'm editing them, I'm editing out more and more because we spend less time talking about like the piece of media that we're supposed to talk about, and we go off on like tangents about the alt-right on 4chan and gentrification and
phones.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about phones one time.
And I'm just wondering, what do we do with that? Do we embrace the direction in which this podcast is naturally going? Or do we say, hey, this is a media podcast, people. We're here to talk about a movie, not my dumb thoughts on something that I don't have enough experience to understand. I don't know. I don't know where to go with it.
Tell us about it on Twitter.
Yeah. I'm just noticing that I think I'm taking more out than what's left of the... because we're like, oh yeah, we actually have to talk about a thing today.
Eventually it'll be just 5 minutes of pure nonsense.
Yeah.
Just disconnected single sentences.
Yeah.
It's gonna mostly be like, should we talk about blank?
Yeah. It was pretty good, but you know what I saw on the news yesterday? Or I was reading about Columbine yesterday.
Oh man. Yeah, I've been reading more about Columbine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't talk about that on the podcast.
No, that was a personal...
No, I don't think Columbine is an appropriate topic for the culture podcast that we do. But hey, everybody, and you know what? You probably have some... If you think too much about Columbine, you'll probably end up crying. That's what happened to me.
Yeah.
But if you feel up to it, go ahead and confront those dark feelings you have. All right? Because that's a real... I wouldn't even call it a rabbit hole. That's something that a lot of us have that's unexamined in our own pasts. Anybody who's listening to this podcast probably lived through it. Though, if you're an 18-year-old listener, you didn't. That's weird.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
We're old.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Speaking of old, what are we talking about today?
John Carpenter's The Thing.
That might have been a bad segue, but
No,
it's kind of an old movie.
Perfect. It was perfect. What is this, 1983 that he made this? Yeah, it was his first studio film, I believe, right? And we got together to watch this movie on Sunday. Both of us having seen it multiple times before. And wow, what a movie, right?
Still good every time.
Still really good. It's still really good. It just has this like loneliness, paranoia, confusion, and claustrophobia that those are like the words that everyone uses to describe it. But everyone uses those to describe the movie because they're true.
It's always hard to review something. I said this about New Vegas as well. Like, it's hard to review something that you really, really love because when it's over, you feel like, oh man, I didn't even talk about this. Like there's so much that you didn't get to say, and then with something like The Thing, it's hard to review something that's like so beloved, because then you're like, what can I bring to the table that hasn't been said already? Because this is a pretty dope movie, and it's recognized as a pretty dope movie now anyway,
though it wasn't recognized as such when it first came out, right?
Which blows my mind.
Yeah, Roger Ebert gave this movie like 2.5 stars.
How can you... I can't even put myself in the shoes of somebody that would watch this and think it isn't the fucking coolest horror movie they've ever seen.
Well, horror movies are weird, right? Genre movies are weird. We experienced this with a lot during Texorcism, right? Where Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, as far as I'm concerned, is like a stone cold genre masterpiece. Yeah. But it's almost completely unrecognized, just because maybe it has to do with expectations. You know, you go into the theater to watch a horror movie, you're going to have, especially if you're Roger Ebert circa 1983, you're going to have certain expectations in your mind. Right, and those are going to color the way that you view this movie. What do you expect when you go into a horror movie, right? Let's step into the shoes of someone who's hostile towards the genre. What do you expect?
Gore?
Titties.
Titties?
And that's it, right?
Oh, okay.
That's it. You expect not a lot of substance. You expect... It's deeper meaning is a weird thing to label art as, but you expect it to not have a lot of depth. And... even if something does have a lot of depth and does have a lot of gore at the same time, you might not be able to see them. You might miss the forest for the trees. And I think that's what kind of happened when people watched The Thing. Because it's a bravely bleak movie to release the same year as E.T.
God. Man, can I just go on the record and say fuck E.T.?
Fuck E.T.
What a shit movie
That's the official Ben and Curt Till It Hurts position on E.T.
The worst movie.
Fuck E.T. I like E.T. I think. Yeah. Oh, man.
Well, never mind.
I like E.T. It's not... I don't know. The ripples of effect that have come after E.T. have maybe soured me a little bit on it, where it's like, well, okay, Stranger Things is like an E.T. remake, but with the alien has become a human child.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and instead of being about love, it's kind of about friendship, but also kind of about being strong enough to kill everybody.
Well, I don't even know where we're going.
I had a little bit of coffee before I came over.
That's good.
Yeah, right. Right. I wasn't expecting a podcast,
yeah,
so I didn't
this
get the sleep I needed last night to podcast.
Yeah.
I didn't do my regular 2 hours of pre-podcast meditation to kind of get my thoughts in order. So we're gonna be a little bit scattered this episode.
A little, and unfortunately, it had to happen during The Thing because we've already had to postpone this. I was thinking about that. I was like, we postponed it, and now I didn't do enough prep for it. Mm-hmm. And I love this movie.
We're not going to give this movie its due. No, we are. We are going to give this movie its due.
We're going to kill it.
We are going to give this movie its due. How do we want to get into this?
Okay. We talked about this in person, and I think it's something worth mentioning when we review it. So this movie is a remake of a film called The Thing from Another World.
Ostensibly a remake. John Carpenter holds that he loves the original movie so much that he decided to go back to the original John Campbell novella.
That sounds right.
Yeah, I forget what the novella is titled, but
I think it's called Who Goes There.
Who Goes There, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So John Carpenter considers it an adaptation of the novella.
Oh, okay. That seems kind of wishy-washy, John Carpenter, but I'll allow it.
It's like a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory situation.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll have to do our Charlie and the Chocolate Factory episode.
Oh, God. Will we?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
When we do our Johnny Depp series, that's when we'll do our...
God. I don't know if we have to do a Johnny Depp series.
Yeah, no, I hope not. We could watch Chocolat, though. It's a very good movie.
I call it chocolate.
Chocolat.
So I'm wondering, when I watch John Carpenter's The Thing, I can't shake the feeling. In the very opening of the movie, we see the Earth, and we see a really bad 80s computer-generated UFO.
Sorry, you mispronounced rad. You mispronounced... It was a very slight difference, but you did.
And I don't know, I go back and forth on this line, wondering whether they should have let you know right in the intro that it was from outer space. I don't know.
Well, what's the effect of knowing that it's from outer space? What does that do for you in the movie?
I think it's great that it's from outer space, but I almost think it would be more effective if they didn't realize that until they saw the tapes. Like, they still would learn that it's from outer space at the same time. And I just don't know what the audience gets from learning that it's from outer space immediately. I almost think it would be cooler if you had no bearing or idea what this thing was or what was going on. Is this some horrid monster that just lives in Antarctica? Is it from space? Is it something that some awful thing the Norwegians were experimenting with in Antarctica? I think there are just a lot of questions that make it more mysterious that would have been answered when they find all 9 hours of VHS recordings. I don't know. It just seems kind of strange. I guess where it was clearly adapted from a work, maybe that, I don't know, because I wasn't alive when it came out. Now, when something is adapted from something else, it's clear, like, oh, well, somebody else made a movie about this in the 50s, and then it was based on a short story. Maybe it wasn't so common knowledge back then. I don't even know, but I just think it was, I don't know. I think it was strange to lead right in with, hey, spaceship, dumping a big monster into space. I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe it just doesn't fucking matter.
Maybe you just...
I don't know why I'm so fixated on it, but
it feels like a nod to the 50s sci-fi.
Yeah.
That sort of produced this work as well. And I like when something comes from space, it's an emissary of pure chaos. Right? Like, Antarctica is already kind of a chaotic but frozen place. But knowing that this thing came from the stars from the very beginning. And well, when would you... I guess the weirdest thing that happens other than seeing a flying saucer crash into Earth is that the Norwegians are so bent on killing this dog.
Yeah.
Right? And that's like right away.
Yeah.
So when the effect of watching it, it's so hard to track the effects of this movie because I've lived with it for so long. Like, my mom showed this to me when I was a young teenager. And I didn't really understand it, but whatever. So I guess the effect is that like, all right, maybe this weird dog killer has something to do with the flying saucer. Who knows? But you don't know what the nature of that relationship is until the dog goes into the kennel. Or until you see, like, all those cool shots of the dog just, like, being chill and not acting like a dog, just watching.
I don't know. I can't remember if we've talked about this. Did you see the 1950s
I didn't.
version of it?
I didn't see the turnip monster.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah?
And so, the most notable thing, is you nailed it on the head, is turnip monster. And I have heard people talk about that, and then when I saw the movie, I was like, oh, it's just because it's cheesy and he does look kind of like a big carrot. Mm-hmm. And that, that makes sense then. In the 1950s one, he is literally a vegetable man. Mm-hmm. And I still can't swallow that. Like,
you can't swallow that turnip.
That alone makes it so that could never be a contender. As much as I love John Carpenter, he is crazy for adoring that film.
There's more to movies than they're monsters. Right?
Yeah.
Also, turnips are kind of creepy. Vegetables are kind of creepy. They just come out of the ground and we just eat them.
Is that creepy?
I guess so. I don't know.
I guess I never really thought about it.
Let's talk about the monster in this movie.
Let's talk about it.
All right? Because the monster in this movie is like the centerpiece of the movie.
Right.
And it's a real masterpiece of a monster. Who do you remember the name of the guy that did the monster effects? I don't either.
It's not Stan Winston, is it?
I believe Stan Winston did some work.
Yeah.
On it. Might have been Stan Winston. I don't know. I was reading a little bit about this before, but what's the overall effect of the monster? It's like nothing you've seen in any other movie.
Yeah.
It's so far from the original. The original is a man in a suit.
Right.
And in this one, it's nothing like.
Yeah, you
looks
never
like
see
nothing
it in
human.
Any pure form of.
Well, now see, I think that is the pure form. Is the thing. I think that it is a form of formlessness. Let's talk the semiotics of this monster. Okay, what does the thing mean? What is the thing? All right, it's not an identifiable individual. It's an aggregate of many. In a way, the thing is a process that gathers more and more types of things into it. It's like everything, right? Like the game Everything, where you can be everything. The thing in this movie is similar to your character and everything, switching between different objects and creatures and able to take on the form of any of them at will. And the way it does this, when you watch the movie, you kind of get you get a sense of how it does it with its tentacles reaching out and grabbing different creatures.
Dissolving things into it.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't think that's a disguise. I think that is the thing. Once it pulls a type of being into it, that becomes inextricable from what the thing is. It also looks fucking cool. It looks really cool.
And maybe my experience with other films has kind of given me an expectation for that, because the closest thing that I could relate what I'm looking for to is Alien. Like the alien impregnates whatever it wants to, and then the baby that comes out has characteristics of an alien and, that thing. And we can assume, I guess, I haven't watched these movies in a while, that the first Alien, that look came from partially something that it was born from, even though you never see it. But when you say,
well, isn't that like a retro isn't that a retro continuity from Alien 3? That idea came in. I don't know. Because in Alien 3, it like comes from a dog and looks kind of like a dog. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I just know that there were lots of toys that were like half alien, half pig.
And then the fucking comic books went so deep into that. Yeah, I don't know if that's an original Alien thing, but sorry.
No. So that's all I was saying is I would have expected. I'm surprised that they got away with never showing. There's never a monster, and I think that's great, and I'm just surprised that they never gave you that. Usually I think, when you look at anything that appears in different scary forms, Alien, Freddy Krueger, it always eventually shows you this is kind of its true form. But I just think it's interesting that they never did that in The Thing.
I think it's a good choice.
Yeah, I think it
leads
works.
to a lot more unpredictability, because, well, I mean, we'll get to the point where we're talking about like favorite scenes, but many of the bestest of the best scenes in this movie have to do with having no idea, even after watching it before, like where the thing is going to come from. It builds up so well to those moments of revelation. But yeah, well, that gets to what the thing represents, which, well, originally Who Goes There is about, it's like a Twilight Zone thing, is my understanding. I haven't read the novella, but it's like a Twilight Zone theme of ideological impregnation. You can look at your neighbor. You don't know if your neighbor is a communist, right? Or looking at you to see if you're a communist. And in the 50s, that was like on everybody's mind, was who's with the Ruskies, right? And in this case, it's just like, who's a secret space alien trying to kill me or absorb me into itself.
To make a duplicate copy of me.
Turn me into a puppet to do its bidding, right? And that's a very real fear. Ideologically, that's a very real fear, is when you talk to someone on the street, it's like, is this person having thoughts of their own or having the thoughts of some other entity, this like abstract idea that has gotten into their brains and won't let go. And in a way, that's a reductive way to look at human psychology. But it feels real. Feels real. Even if it's not totally true, it feels like the case when you're a little paranoid. Yeah. And I think that The Thing does a great job of getting at that idea, that paranoia specifically.
I think I don't even the setting. I mean, obviously John Carpenter didn't pick that, but I think, what a great pairing of a fear and the perfect setting to, exploit that fear to its fullest.
Yeah, the isolation.
They do such a great job of just really pounding in how cold and desolate and alone these 10 people are. And even I think that works towards it is when there's like I think maybe one or two shots in the whole film that in the beginning that show there are like 12 guys, like you know that I think there's only one or two that show okay this is everybody, and then it quickly goes into little segmented groups to really kind of show how broken up and isolated each individual group is. And I think a lot of these guys have kind of, I don't want to say forgettable, because I don't want to say anything in this film is forgettable, but they have characteristics that don't make each one of them stand out a lot. So I think when you watch it, you're kind of like, it's hard to remember who everybody is or all these details that I think it just really, it also adds to that isolation that it doesn't have this big warm group of the funny guy, the black guy. There's all these, you know, the old guy. There are just different characters that all kind of fit the same archetype that...
Well, let's see. Let's do this as an exercise. Let's see if we can remember all the characters. All right? McCready. There's Kurt Russell's character.
Who clearly has the most...
Arguably is the main character of the movie.
Yeah.
Though you don't really realize that at the beginning.
And I would say...
I guess maybe you do. Because he gets introduced first.
Yeah.
When he pours he's playing chess with the computer and the computer beats him and he pours his liquor into the computer and breaks it.
Which I think, I don't know exactly... Like, I like that scene because it works, and I don't know exactly what I take away from that I like so much, but there are a lot of things I like about it. The fact that he's a dickhead, that he would, you know, rather break the machine than lose.
Which makes his statement like, let's have someone with a little more of with a little bit less of a temper be in charge.
Yeah. Or even, you're in this cold, isolated, dreadful place to be, and he still chooses to hang out by himself, get drunk on his own.
I just want to go back to my shack and get drunk.
And I would think if I were in such an isolated place, I would want any lifeline available as an option. So the fact that just losing a game of chess, he just breaks the machine, to me that's like severing the connection of one... That's one less thing he can do to keep his mind off of the fact that they're trapped in Antarctica.
You kind of get the sense that that maybe all of them have already gone a little crazy before everything starts going down.
Yeah, or you'd have to be crazy to do that.
yeah. So McCready, right? The helicopter pilot.
Yes.
There's Blair, right?
Yes.
The oh god, what's his name? Wilford Brimley character.
He's a doctor.
He's a doctor, right? And he has some very interesting moments early on. He's kind of the first one to crack. He realized when he watches that little computer simulation of the cells taking over, and he's like, "We're fucked.
Yeah,
I need to shoot everybody. I can't trust anybody." So there's Blair. There's Keith David's character. What's his name?
God.
Oh no.
Childs.
Yep. There's Childs, who is I don't know how to describe him. He's like McCready's biggest antagonist, but also the only other person who seems to have the amount of take charge attitude that it would take to take control of the situation. And McCready pushes him out of the way in that moment, right? There's one moment where it's either Childs or McCready is going to take control of the situation, and it ends up being McCready. And part of you has to wonder, like, would things have gone down differently had Childs taken that pistol in that moment? You wonder, you know?
It's so hard to say because Childs is really just so... I don't know. He's tough. It would be hard. Nobody would survive very long. In fact, I would almost argue that the whole thing would have just almost instantly fallen apart if Childs were in charge.
Why?
Because
It's because he's black?
Yeah. Obviously, a black leader is not going to be as good as a white one. A stoic white man with a beard.
Who pours liquor into computers.
Yeah. I just think that Childs has so much anger, and, like, if he doubts you, he will kill you. Like that, there's no room for error. If you have spent any time by yourself, you are now the enemy.
Doesn't McCready kill someone who later turns out to be human just because he doesn't He shoots, what's it, the other guy?
Only because he lunges at him with a scalpel, though.
Lunges. Lunges is a funny word.
I would say lunges.
We'll have to roll the tape back again, all right? I remember that scene slightly differently. But that's another guy. That's another character on the roster, right? I can't remember that guy's name, but he's the weird one who always has like a wisecrack to make.
Yeah.
He looks a little off balance.
The dog guy, right? He was the...
Oh, no, I was wrong. The dog guy is not the guy I was thinking of, but yeah, the dog guy is I think the guy who gets killed. The dog guy is another stoic white man with a beard.
Yep.
Who,
but kind of
Clark, maybe? I don't know.
Clark, I think, yeah. And he's interesting because he really similar, he looks similar to McCready, but you can tell very early on that he's the dog guy.
He's kind of an outsider.
Kind of weird, doesn't really click with the rest of them.
He's way more comfortable with the dogs than he is with the people.
Yeah.
Which makes it really sad when the dogs get killed. And you can see it on his face. Like, that's kind of a sad moment. You get the feeling that means a lot to him. And yeah. But okay, there's Clark.
We have Windows.
Windows, yep. Nauru something? Gnarl?
I don't know.
Nalls?
You're saying noises right now.
I'm having a stroke, man. I thought I was telling you more about the movie.
Yeah. There's the cook. I don't know what
the cook on the rollerblades.
Yep.
The old guy.
Yep.
I
Gary.
can't remember that guy. Gary. That might be all of them. No, there's the chubby. The
doctor's assistant.
The doctor's assistant who has the chest moment. Which watching this movie together, Curtis got to see all my unsullied reactions to. Really, it's really 3 parts of the movie that fuck with me. 2 or 3. Two that come to mind immediately, but I suspect there's a third one. The first one is when they're using the defibrillators on this guy's chest, and it's like, clear, boom, he's not coming back. Clear, boom, he's not coming back. Clear, oh god! his chest opens up into a mouth.
With giant fangs.
And it's like, as the guy's hands are going down, and instead of stopping at the chest, they go right in.
Biting his arms off.
Which
nice chunk.
I heard they used a double amputee to get that shot. They put Jello arms on. That's why the effect fucks with me so much, I think. Is because it's way too real looking. The double amputee fucking puts his fake arms in, and then they just come off.
Did you say, what was your other moment? Did you say?
My other moment is much worse. It's during the blood testing scene.
Yeah.
When they test the guy's blood, and it turns out that he's one of the baddies, and the other guys are still tied onto the couch with him.
Yeah.
And he's erupting into tentacles flying all over the place. And I look at fucking, oh god, the guys the old guy is right next to him, and he's just desperately trying to get away. And I have so much empathy for him in that moment that I feel like I am experiencing it with him, and it's very difficult for me to watch that part. Maybe the third one, this doesn't get to me quite as much, but it's the first one. Who is the other guy that we're forgetting? The first guy to die with the hands, right?
Yeah,
the hands. He walks outside, and he's got those hands, and then they blow him up, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
That's one of my moments when he's the bald, red-haired guy.
Yeah, I can't even remember what his role is at the station. I think he's a scientist. I think he might be like one of the only scientists there.
And when he just runs out into there's a really good jump scare with him before that, actually, where somebody opens the door and steps out just as his black mass of a body is sliding by the doorway.
Yes, yep. Because that's when he's cutting. No, that's not. He doesn't. He's not the one that cuts the blood bags open. But yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And when they chase him out and they see him on the ground, and his face is just this wide-eyed, lifeless face that just opens his mouth, and this alien scream starts to just reverberate out of his body.
Oh, because what happens to him, right, is that he's left alone in the stock room where the dead alien body that came from the Norwegian camp is, and you see the blood dripping down, and then the other guy walks in and sees him wrapped in tentacles, just fucking shaking in a chair. God, this is such a good movie. Listen, if you haven't seen The Thing, fucking watch The Thing.
You should not be listening to this if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, still go watch it, though.
Yeah.
Still go watch
pause
it.
We'll wait.
We've Curtis has seen this movie hundreds of times, like more times than Eraserhead, which is saying a lot, and I've seen it 4 or 5 times, and it still fucks with me. It's a great movie.
And so, you know what I have to say, though? I think the part that is the most effective in this whole movie, which, you know, it's one of my weaknesses, I can't help it, when they're in the dog kennel, when the first dog, the thing, is transforming, it really fucks with me every time. I'll never get used to it. When one of the dogs is standing up and trying to chew its way through the chain link fence. That
kind of fear. That communicates pure fear to you.
Well, I need to do whatever the fuck I can to get out of this room. Yeah. And that even still, when I was watching it on Sunday, I was just like,
yeah,
like just cringing at how much that must hurt that poor dog.
Yep. That's scary.
And I'm trying to, there's a lot of great moments, but I'm trying to think of like the scariest for me. I think those are pretty much the two.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just a lot of
one of the greatest moments, and I think we both got a good laugh out of this. Not like a laugh of hilarity, but a laugh of like, wow, that's fucking rad. Is when that guy who's on fire walks out of the building, and then I think McCready like throws some dynamite at him, and he just blows up.
It's obliterated.
He just exploded all in one moment. John Carpenter knows how to use a good, and we were talking about this when we were watching it. John Carpenter knows how to use a good man on fire.
Yeah. I really hope that it's always been the same guy, like across.
Dude, if he had like one stuntman that's like fucking strap me up, put me in that weird bodysuit, or spray me with the spray. I don't even know how they do it.
I'm the fire guy.
Which you've got to have a good fire guy, because that is a really
that's something that can go wrong.
That's a pretty in-depth stunt. Like you have to be especially really good at what you do.
When you'll see a lot of times in a film like a guy with an arm on fire, but when you're seeing a man engulfed in flames, like walking across the snow, you're like, that's dedication to your craft, stuntman.
Yeah, you can't fake that. You don't see that very much anymore either.
You don't see anything anymore, Ben.
Man, it sucks. Let's do a 15-minute segment on how bad movies are
today.
Let's do
old man rant.
Old man.
I wish I still need to get all the little tones like a radio station so we can have an old man alert.
Mm-hmm.
Just, you don't see this type of stuff in movies anymore. This movie, I think, honestly, and it's older than I am. It's, pretty old film. The effects in this movie hold up more than, even big budget things now. And it's just, I get it. It's cheaper. It's easier to do CG stuff, but
it's less dangerous.
Yeah, that's true. You're also not really on fire.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, I think that's one of the craziest things about this film is that I don't know if you would actually call this like a body horror film.
I absolutely 100% would.
I think one of the things that I like about the thing so much is that it just incorporates so many different elements of horror that I think that, I mean, we can call it a body film. I have no problem with that, but I like that it's not just a body film. I think that's one of the things about it is you watch it still now today, and it's just like, ugh. Like there are multiple moments where you're just uncomfortable in your own skin watching these masses wriggle and be all sticky looking. And,
dog faces coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Things budding open like flowers. Yeah.
I guess this will be kind of a good time to mention, and I'm sure I've said this before, but I like a lot of horror movies, and I really like old horror movies and newer horror movies. And I think when I look back at like the classic horror films, it was always more about atmosphere. It was an atmospheric horror rather than let's just gross everybody out and scare the shit out of everybody. And I think that The Thing is one of those movies that perfectly does both. It just sets this tone of just dread where even if all that gore weren't in the movie, it would still be scary. Even if this were, I mean, it kind of is in a way, but this is like the monsters are due on Maple Street. And it's like, even without that gore, this movie would be scary. Even if you never even knew that there was an alien, but you knew enough to believe that one of these guys was an alien, this movie would still work And then if you just wanted to watch a gross out film, this movie's pretty fucking gross at points.
It's really gross.
And I think that that's one of the best things about it is that it almost makes it kind of timeless because the practical effects are so good that it just looks pretty real for how unrealistic it is. And then it just has that very scary but also very atmospherically scary that kind of have for me just like elevated it to this like masterpiece of horror.
Yeah.
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 Now what?
What do you think of the ending?
So, I really like the ending. We talked about a little bit about the one of the fan theories.
Yeah.
Fan theories are always fun. Usually because it's there if you want to interpret it that way, but obviously you don't have it. The movie doesn't tell you how it ends. And I think either way you want to look at it works. I think it has just such a sad, I don't know, it's such a melancholy ending of
the desperation.
It feels like they won, but they're going to die.
Well, yeah, they're guaranteed to die.
Yeah. As soon as those fires go out, it's going to be 50 degrees below zero, and they'll be dead within an hour.
They've spent the entire movie in hell with like some semblance of hope that they're going to get out of hell at some point. And by the end, they're in like this literal vision of hell. Like it's like something out of a Hieronymus Bosch painting, a specific Hieronymus Bosch painting. Called The Garden of Earthly Delights, actually, I think. John Carpenter, fucking tweet at us. Tell us if tell us if that's right.
John, we know you're still listening.
John, thank you for being such a loyal listener.
Yeah.
And you just know that no matter what, there's no way they're getting out of there.
Yeah.
The whole base is gone. It's on fire around them. They're as good as dead. Doesn't matter if one of them is an alien or if both of them are aliens.
Yeah. Now, having said that, what did you think of the fan theory that Childs is most certainly the thing, and MacReady is now stuck there with Childs?
It's neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's another, apparently on the commentary, I saw this just before I came over. Apparently on the commentary, they talk about how they lit slightly differently the actors who were supposed to be aliens at any given point. They lit them to put a little glint in their eye. And if you look really closely, it seems like it does seem like Childs has a little glint in his eye, right?
There we go. Sold.
Ambiguity demolished. Facts established.
Childs is the thing at the end of the film. He's going to camp out until spring when the rescue helicopter comes.
Yep.
And then the whole world's going to die. Sorry.
Yep. Now there's an interesting little behind the scenes thing about one of the tricks that they used to get, well, because they go to the Norwegian camp and it's a burned out husk, right?
Yep.
Apparently what they did was they actually shot that at the very end of the filming. That is the same set.
Oh, really?
The Norwegian camp is the same set as the American camp, just after it burns.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, which is cool because upon rewatch, you really do get the sense that like it's a cycle. It's no matter where the thing goes, it breeds fundamentally similar events. Yeah, the same paranoia and insanity and genuine hellish visions come no matter where the thing comes from.
Have you seen the 2000s? version?
Oh, I have not seen the remake. I heard it was very bad.
I've heard multiple things about it. I haven't seen it either, but I believe, spoilers from a guy who hasn't even seen it, so I don't know if this is accurate. I believe you spend the whole thing thinking that it's a remake, and then at the end there's kind of that super awesome 2000s plot twist at the end that it's the Norwegian camp.
Yeah.
But I don't know how accurate all of that is because I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Which I should. You would think that this is one of my favorite movies. I at least I have to hurt myself to watch a bad remake of it.
Yeah. There's also the PlayStation 2 video game.
You know,
The Thing. It's a survival horror game that's very well regarded.
I've heard a couple people talk about it, and I didn't even know that it was a thing.
Yeah.
Heyo.
I didn't even know it was an entry in this beloved franchise.
But apparently it works pretty well.
Yeah.
I'll have to play it. I'm never going to play it.
I might have a copy of it kicking around.
There you go.
Yeah,
you should play it. Tell me how it is.
I will. I'll get back to you. That's my homework.
I don't know.
The thing's really good.
Yeah.
Is there anything else to say about it?
I don't know.
How long have we gone?
It's not long. For like 40 minutes.
40. I didn't think this was going to be a very long episode. I kind of had that feeling. There's not that much to say about the thing.
It's just great.
It's just awesome. Go watch the thing. Speaking of practical effects, though, movie that has great practical effects, Death Proof.
Yeah.
Let's talk Quentin Tarantino for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Let's fill out the back
Stuntman
half of
Mike
this.
would have been the guy to get set on fire.
Oh, hell yeah. Stuntman Mike would have gotten set on fire. He would have asked to get set on fire.
Who I literally just realized is
Kurt
Russell
Russell,
from
yeah.
The Thing.
Yeah, uh-oh.
We're getting into some dangerous territory here on Ben and Kurt.
We eliminated too many categories, and all
Yeah.
our episodes are bleeding together.
We're just connecting the two greatest things on Earth.
We are an intensely interconnected podcast.
We're just like the MCU. This is the B and C
Yes,
till it HCU.
cinematic universe. Oh, can't wait for all those introductory episodes for all our special co-hosts in the future. Can't wait for the episode where we introduce Aquaman.
Yep.
Yeah.
Aquaman comes out this year.
Fuck everything.
Yeah, is that...
I'm not going to go see any of those movies. I might go see Black Panther.
Yeah, yeah.
Look, listen, all right? Apparently the trailer has a song that has Vince Staples and Kendrick Lamar on it, which is that's like a comic book style crossover that gets me really excited. But it also makes me I also resent it because I know that it's just fucking marketing.
Are you aware that Kendrick Lamar is somewhat responsible for the whole soundtrack?
For Black Panther?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
He has performed part of this. I don't know if you would say scored because it's not, orchestral, but he has created music for the film and has curated the songs that he has not. So everything in the film, every musical choice is a Kendrick Lamar.
I should go see that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
I like
man.
Black Panther a lot. I did in the comics. I don't know if I can do these Marvel movies anymore.
This might be the one. I don't know. What's been on your mind recently, Curtis? The thing is done. We're done talking about
good.
the thing.
We'll
Thank you for listening to our The Thing cast. We're just going to do a little catch up.
We'll give you guys some filler. I don't know. All right, well, bye. We're starting David Lynch next week, right?
Yeah, do we want to just talk a little bit about our do we want to do a pre-David Lynch episode where we talk about, not episode, but end this episode?
Yeah. All
right. Thanks for listening to Ben and Curt Till It Hurts. Next week, Eraserhead. What are your thoughts on David Lynch?
Are you asking me? No.
Yeah.
I'm new to David Lynch. I think Eraserhead is probably the first movie of his that I had seen.
Wow. Okay.
And I'm going to look up we're just off the rails now.
No, it's fine. We're on new rails.
Yep. So not October of 2017, October of 2016, I watched Eraserhead for the first time. And I was blown away, also very confused and scared when I watched it. And I had been wanting to buy it just based on like reviews and things I had read. I wanted to buy it. I guess I should step back before, because even though I had just learned somewhat about it, I knew of its existence because when I was a kid, that was when DVDs first came around. And I don't know where he got them, but my friend's older brother was your classic I like fucked up stuff teenager. Mm-hmm. So he liked metal and he liked scary movies and stuff. So he had this like DVD shelf where you're a teenager with your first job and expendable money. So he would buy like fucked up movies. And I remember he had Eraserhead on DVD, and I never watched it, but I remember looking at the cover and kind of being like, ugh, like this is weird. Mm-hmm. And I had no idea what it was about. But then I saw a review of it on Cinemassacre, and I was like, this needs to be something that I have to track down. This is a really long way to tell this story, but whatever. We're killing time, right?
Yeah.
And I couldn't find a copy of it anywhere, or if I found like a Blu-ray Criterion, but it was like $30, and I was like, I don't know if I want to spend $30 on that movie if I've never seen it. I don't even know if I'll like it. And then somebody who had seen it was like, yeah, he's like, don't do that. Just, rent it on Amazon or something. He was like, it's not really a movie you want to own because it's really weird. It's really fucking creepy and kind of fucked up. And you need to see it, but then once you've seen it, you don't need to watch it again. It's not a movie you want to watch over and over again. Mm. But so I ended up finding a copy, borrowing it, and watching it and be like, yeah, that was pretty fucking weird. That was, I don't know what that was. And I just kept coming back to it. And I kept looking to see if I could find a pre-owned one. And now I've watched it a bunch. And
you do keep returning to it.
And I think that maybe that for the person that told me that was their experience with it, or for most people, and they watch it and be like, yeah, that is fucked up. Check, and then just move on. But something keeps bringing me back to Eraserhead. And that kind of got me into like, well, I guess I should get around to seeing the other David Lynch films. So I have just started kind of going down that road. I just watched The Elephant Man last week.
I watched that movie in health class when I was young.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And I'm actually looking now, and aside from a few episodes of Twin Peaks, that is all I have seen of David Lynch's films.
Well, let's see. What's the series going to look like? It goes Eraserhead, then Elephant Man. Is Wild at Heart next, or Blue Velvet?
Dune is next.
Dune!
If we are doing Dune.
Of course we're doing Dune.
Okay. And then Blue Velvet, then Wild at Heart.
Lost Highway?
I don't know what Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me is.
Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me is a film that is kind of a sequel and a prequel to Twin Peaks.
That makes sense.
I don't know if we'll do that one because I don't intend to watch Twin Peaks.
Right.
Because I'm not that cool, I guess. Like, I'm pretty cool. I'm not Twin Peaks cool, but I'm pretty cool.
Yeah, but then if we're not doing that, Lost Highway is next.
Mulholland Drive.
The Straight Story?
I don't know anything about that.
I don't either, so that's on the table, maybe.
Yeah.
But then Mulholland Drive, and then Inland Empire.
And then he stops.
That's it.
He stopped making movies.
12 years ago was his last film.
Yep. And then he did the Twin Peaks sequel series.
He wrote Mindhunter, I think.
Oh, no. David Fincher.
Oh, David Fincher. Okay.
Yeah, no, David Lynch wouldn't.
I'm going to edit that out because that's dumb.
Dude, I might have told people, well, Megan says I didn't, but I've been telling people that fucking Tim Robbins starred in Eraserhead. It's Jack Nance, right?
Yeah.
I'm a fucking idiot.
Thanks for giving me one.
Look,
too.
all that happened is that when I was young, I was a big fan of this movie Jacob's Ladder. All right, and that had Tim Robbins in it. And then when I saw like that famous image of Jack Nance looking confused with the hair on Eraserhead, for some reason I thought, hey, that's kind of like Tim Robbins, and it just sunk into me, and that became
that's just fact now.
That became canon. That became real canon. So yeah, no, that's going to be the series that we're doing. I'm real excited about this one.
I don't know how I feel about it. I think it's a little. I think I'm a little bit worried only because from the perspective of our listeners, I think the chances that you've seen Tarantino's movies or Kevin Smith movies are a lot higher than that you've seen all these Lynch films. So I'm a little bit. I haven't seen them either, so I'm like, I haven't
seen all of them either.
Yeah, but I mean, I really liked. I love Eraserhead, and I really like The Elephant Man. So I think it'll be good.
Yeah,
I think it'll be good. Hopefully, you guys are up for watching new movies and not just like skipping ones that you haven't seen.
Yeah.
Because if you guys aren't doing your homework, I'm pissed. That's
listen. We all signed a contract when we started this podcast. You've got to hold up your end of the bargain.
If you listened to the first episode about Resident Evil 4, then you're in, and I'm sorry.
And you better have played Resident Evil 4 before you listen to that.
All of it. And I'm sorry if our political talk just isn't for you because you're on our team now, and you better fucking get with it.
Get with the program.
Yep. Trayvon Martin did not need to be killed.
I didn't want to. Oh, no. Edit that out.
All right. This is going to be an edit-heavy episode.
All right, are we done?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know what we're...
This was a fun one.
Yeah, this is a short one. This will be good, because it'll be good for the air time.
Yes.
So, yeah, The Thing is great. Honestly, there's nothing we can say about it that will make it any better. Just fucking go watch it.
I think we had a good discussion.
Yeah.
I liked when we started talking about this is our wrap up. This is our fucking After the Walking Dead wrap up show of Ben and Curt Till It Hurts.
Beyond Stranger Things.
Yeah, this is our Beyond Stranger Things. This is our Game of Thrones wrap up podcast.
Yeah.
I liked. I did feel like we started talking about some good stuff when we kind of started getting down to some more specifics about it.
Can I just say quickly how much I hate how commonplace it is now that shows have like a post and pre-game discussion?
I have so much trouble figuring out what it means.
What it means is that they have said, shit, people like what we watch, and then they do podcasts about it, and we need to figure out a way that we basically have a podcast.
We've got to capitalize on the Twitter viewership.
Right, and we need to be able to have those conversations that they're having without us. And hey, since we made the show, we can get the actors on our quote-unquote podcast, and then, it
snowballs from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's great. Go watch it. We will be talking about Eraserhead next week.
Yep.
Highly recommend watching that one.
I'm excited. I'm going to watch it a couple times, I think.
Yeah, me
really
too. Me too. Set the scene, though. You know what? That's okay. One last thing.
Yeah.
The thing that these two movies, Eraserhead and The Thing, both have in common is that it makes a big difference to set the scene when you watch these films.
Light some candles.
I don't know.
Get some incense going.
Maybe not that particular scene.
Release locusts into your room of viewership.
If we bring up Locust, it's Exorcist 2 again, and that's not a road I want to go down.
I think about Exorcist 2 weekly, probably. Yeah, probably. James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
I
think about The Lion King a lot.
Yeah?
Sorry.
That was a good joke.
Yeah. Shut the lights out. Maybe watch it by yourself or with one other person. Mm-hmm. But don't try to add any comedy in when you're all fucking stressed out watching Eraserhead. Just bask in it.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk about that next week. You can follow us on Twitter.
Yeah.
You can follow me personally at CurtCake5K on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow Ben and Curt Till It Hurts on Twitter at Ben_and_Curt.
Yep.
Give subscribe to the old Black Gold podcast to listen to more Black Gold podcasts and Ben and Curt Till It Hurts. I guess that's it for this week.
Yep. Check out the YouTube channel. It's
check out the YouTube channel.
If you got anything to say,
yeah,
you can say it on YouTube comments.
Leave some comments. Someone will say some racist shit to you if you want. What place? I think that's the only platform where you can talk about Ben and Curt Till It Hurts and have racial slurs thrown at you.
That's Twitter.
Yeah. Has that bled into the...
What, Twitter?
Into Twitter?
Racial slurs?
I mean... Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. No.
Racial slurs have made it onto Twitter. Not directly. Like they will ban you if you use direct racial slurs. But someone will tell you that black people have a low IQ. Like you can get someone to do that.
Someone will
pretty easily. 2 or 3 tweets down in exchange, you can get someone to tell you that fucking black people should have their own country and white people should too. That they can't live together. You can get someone to tell you that.
Jeez. There are Girl Scouts in my house right now. That's what that noise is.
We should keep podcasting till they're gone, because I don't want to. I can't confront Girl Scouts right now.
They're adorable kids too. It's impossible to say no to those kids. Mm. Yeah. So anyway,
all right.
We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks for listening to this one.
Yeah, we owe you a thank you.
We owe you, man. The Tuesday recording really fucked us up.
Let's not do this again. This is too. I think we need that
Wednesday next week.